आईसीआरटी ने आईटीसी मराठा में 71वीं एजीएम में 2022-24 के लिए प्रबंध समिति के चुनाव की घोषणा की। रेडिसन होटल समूह पर्यावरण के प्रति जागरूक। रेडिसन होटलों में इलेक्ट्रिक वाहनों के लिए चार्जर स्टेशन का उद्घाटन। इटली की आईटीए एयरवेज जल्द ही रोम दिल्ली की उड़ानें शुरू करेगा। फैबियो बिगोटी कंट्री मैनेजर नियुक्त। इंटरनेशनल सेंटर फॉर रेस्पॉन्सिबल टूरिज्म ने मध्य प्रदेश पर्यटन को 4 स्वर्ण और 1 रजत अवार्ड से सम्मानित किए। सेंट पीटर्सबर्ग के लिए भारत एक प्रमुख बाजार है। एलिसेवेटा नेफेडोवा। हरावी की 19वीं रीजनल कन्वेंशन 7 से 9 अक्टूबर तक नासिक में होना निश्चित। पीटर एल्बर्स इंडिगो एयरलाइंस के नए सीईओ नियुक्त। फिजी देश में प्रवेश करने के लिए कोविड टेस्ट की अनिवार्यता को समाप्त किया। अमेरिका ने कुछ वीजा श्रेणियों के लिए व्यक्तिगत रूप से साक्षात्कार की आवश्यकता को समाप्त किया। वर्ल्ड ट्रेवल मार्केट लंदन 2022 अपने पुराने स्वरूप में लौटा। पंजीकरण आरंभ। इंटरनेशनल सेंटर फॉर रिस्पॉन्सिबल टूरिज्म आईसीआरटी ने इस बार भोपाल के कुशाभाऊ ठाकरे कन्वेंशन सेंटर में अपने वर्ल्ड ट्रेवल मार्केट रिस्पॉन्सिबल टूरिज्म इंडिया अवार्ड्स समारोह का आयोजन किया है। आईसीआरटी के संस्थापक निदेशक प्रोफेसर हेरोल्ड गुडविन ने पर्यटन दिग्गजों को सम्मान प्रदान किए। मध्य प्रदेश पर्यटन ने 4 स्वर्ण और 1 रजत पदक जीता। प्रमुख सचिव पर्यटन और पर्यटन बोर्ड के प्रबंध निदेशक शिवशेखर शुक्ला ने ये सम्मान प्राप्त किए। पर्यावरण के लिए रेडिसन होटल ग्रुप के प्रयासों के विषय में बात करते हुए रेडिसन होटल ग्रुप के प्रबंध निदेशक और दक्षिण एशिया के उपाध्यक्ष ऑपरेशंस जुबिन सक्सेना ने कहा, रेडिसन होटल समूह समाज और अपने मेहमान के प्रति अपनी जिम्मेदारी का निर्वहन कर रहा है। इलेक्ट्रिक वाहनों की चार्जिंग सुविधाएं प्रदान करने और पर्यावरण के प्रति अपना योगदान देने के लिए सनफ्यूल के साथ साझेदारी हमारा इस दिशा में एक प्रयास है। उन्होंने कहा, हमारा मानना है कि रेडिसन होटल्स में इलेक्ट्रिक वाहन चार्जिंग स्टेशन देश में उपभोक्ताओं के बीच इलेक्ट्रिक ऑटोमोबाइल के प्रति रुझान को मजबूती प्रदान करेगा। मुझे बताते हुए हर्ष है कि आज हर 4 घंटे की दूरी पर एक रेडिसन होटल आपकी सेवा में मौजूद है। आईटीए एयरवेज 4 दिसंबर 2022 से भारत और इटली के बीच नॉन स्टॉप सेवाएं शुरू करेगी। नई उड़ान एयरबस A330 पर हर मंगलवार, गुरुवार और रविवार को 3 साप्ताहिक आवृत्तियों के साथ संचालित की जाएगी। डेक्स ग्रुप भारत का अग्रणी जीएसए समूह भारत में आईटीए एयरवेज के जनरल सेल्स एजेंट के रूप में प्रतिनिधित्व करेगा। फैबियो बिगोटी भारत में कंट्री मैनेजर का दायित्व संभालेंगे। सेंट पीटर्सबर्ग कमेटी फॉर टूरिज्म डेवलपमेंट के मार्केटिंग एंड प्रमोशन की उप निदेशक एलिसेवेटा नेफेडोवा ने कहा है कि रूस के सेंट पीटर्सबर्ग के लिए भारत एक प्रमुख पर्यटकों का स्रोत है। भारत और रूस की भागीदारी बहुत पुरानी है। हम दोनों देशों के राजनयिक संबंधों की 75वीं सालगिरह का जश्न मना रहे हैं। हमारे रोड शो का उद्देश्य सेंट पीटर्सबर्ग के ट्रेवल एजेंट्स और भारतीय ट्रेवल एजेंट्स को आपस में व्यापार करने के लिए एक नेटवर्किंग मंच प्रदान करना है। हम अपने भारतीय साथियों को यह भी दिखाना चाहते हैं कि सेंट पीटर्सबर्ग कितना सुंदर और जीवंत शहर है। नफेडोवा ने बताया कि हम इस साल करीब 4 लाख पर्यटकों के आने की उम्मीद कर रहे हैं। पीटर एल्बर्स को 6 सितंबर से रोनोजॉय दत्ता के स्थान पर इंडिगो एयरलाइंस का मुख्य कार्यकारी अधिकारी नियुक्त किया गया है। एल्बर्स ने 1992 में शिफोल हब में केलम एयरलाइंस से अपना विमानन करियर शुरू किया था और नीदरलैंड, जापान, इटली और ग्रीस में विभिन्न प्रबंधकीय पदों पर कार्य किया। उन्होंने 2014 से केलम रॉयल डच के अध्यक्ष और सीईओ के रूप में कार्य किया है और एयर फ्रांस केलम समूह की कार्यकारी समिति के सदस्य भी हैं। 5 सितंबर 2022 से फिजी ने अंतर्राष्ट्रीय यात्रियों के आगमन के लिए कोविड परीक्षण की आवश्यकता को हटा दिया है। फिजी के लिए फ्लाइट से पहले किसी कोविड टेस्ट रिपोर्ट और वैक्सीनेशन प्रमाण की आवश्यकता नहीं होगी। वर्ल्ड ट्रैवल मार्केट लंदन ट्रैवल शो अपने महामारी से पूर्व के प्रारूप में वापस आ रहा है, जिसमें सैकड़ों एक्सहिबिटर अपने डेस्टिनेशन होटल्स, पैकेज एवं सेवाओं का प्रदर्शन करेंगे। मिली जानकारी के मुताबिक इस साल का शो पूरी तरह से लाइव अपने प्री पैंडेमिक फॉर्मेट में वापस आ रहा है। एक बार फिर WTM लंदन के दौरान प्रतिष्ठित WTM, UNWTO और WTTC मंत्रियों के शिखर सम्मेलन का आयोजन किया जाएगा। सस्टेनेबल टूरिज्म भी एजेंडे में प्रमुख रहेगा, जबकि ट्रैवल टेक ट्रैवल और टूरिज्म उद्योग के लिए अत्याधुनिक तकनीक पर संगोष्ठी दुनिया भर के डिसीजन मेकर्स को आकर्षित करेगी। इंडियन होटल्स कंपनी ने गुजरात के एकता नगर में स्टैच्यू ऑफ यूनिटी के करीब 2 होटलों विवांता और जिंजर के खोलने की घोषणा की। विदेश मंत्री एस जयशंकर ने टाटा सन्स के अध्यक्ष एन चंद्रशेखरन और IHCL के प्रबंध निदेशक और CEO पुनीत चटवाल की उपस्थिति में इनकी आधारशिला रखी। इस अवसर पर भाजपा प्रदेश अध्यक्ष घनश्याम भाई पटेल भी मौजूद थे। चटवाल ने कहा, एकता नगर में एक विश्व स्तरीय पर्यटन स्थल के विकास के विजन का हिस्सा बनना हमारे लिए सौभाग्य की बात है। गुजरात में IHCL होटल्स की बढ़ती संख्या इस महत्वपूर्ण साझेदारी का हिस्सा है। एकता नगर को देश में एक प्रमुख पर्यटन स्थल के रूप में नियोजित किया गया है और IHCL सरदार सरोवर नर्मदा निगम के साथ साझेदारी में 2 होटलों के साथ यात्रियों के लिए असाधारण अनुभव प्रदान करने के लिए कटिबद्ध है। हम इस क्षेत्र में अपने विशिष्ट योगदान के लिए सदा तत्पर है। अमीरात और यूनाइटेड एयरलाइंस ने परस्पर सहयोग से आगे बढ़ने के संकेत दिए। अमीरात दुबई UAE में अपने हब के साथ सबसे शानदार एयरलाइंस और यूनाइटेड एयरलाइंस के साथ फ्रैंकफर्ट स्थित स्टार एलायंस के संस्थापक सदस्य लुफ्थांसा के 14 सितंबर को एक बड़ी घोषणा करने की उम्मीद है। घोषणा संभवतः अमीरात और यूनाइटेड एयरलाइंस के बीच एक नए सहयोग की व्याख्या करेगी। सूत्रों के अनुसार इसमें दोनों कैरियर्स के मध्य व्यापक कोड शेयर समझौते की उम्मीद है। इसमें यूनाइटेड एयरलाइंस माइलेज प्लस और अमीरात के फ्रीक्वेंट फ्लायर प्रोग्राम के साथ एक समझौता भी शामिल हो सकता है। अमीरात के पूर्व CEO टिम क्लार्क ने 2020 में संयुक्त राज्य के बाजार की बेहतर सेवा के लिए एक बड़े अमेरिकी एयरलाइंस के साथ साझेदारी करने की योजना के विषय में संकेत दिए थे।
You are watching Travel World Online.
Near the heart of India, a land filled with surprises. In your lush forests, and the mighty force of your waters. You hold the deepest secrets that take us back in time. When it's said that the gods walk this land, this is where you carve a sense of oneness. And in you, we hear the echoes of peace. This is where we feel the warmth of your faces. Sway to your vibrant rhythms. See hands that mold life. Hands that breathe joy. Burnished with the fire of beauty. You captivate with your unique flavors. That make us come back for more. In you, we flourish. While embracing change, you grow. And and build bridges that leap into the future. In you is the land that gives, creates, nurtures, grows, and builds. It's all in you. Come, experience Chhattisgarh.
Of opportunities for us to exploit, and I think these are some of the strategies that our co-panelists and all of us will discuss. Thank you.
Thank you, Amit.
Hi, thank you. Thank you, Kai, and thank you, Jyoti ji, for having me here. My name is Chardikla, and I've been a part of a company called Make My Trip from last 12 years. I have seen Indian tourism market very, very closely. I've been working in various geographies, in various roles, right from hotel supply to airline supply, and finally my current role, which is the B2B arm for Make My Trip, a B2B portal which is open to all the travel agents. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I am Rakesh Bansal, and in the spirit of Thai, namaste to you all. I have been working with Amadeus and managing operations for Amadeus now for almost 30 years. I'm a computer engineer and avid technology enthusiast. I've also done my management, and I have seen travel evolve over the last 2 to 3 decades in terms of how the GDSs and how common distribution came into the marketplace, and then how it has evolved in terms of technology, automation, and now the new distribution capability. And we talk more about the evolved traveler, how the needs are changing, and especially what COVID has brought. So we are part and parcel in terms of looking at what is to be delivered and then working on the same.
Great. Thank you, and good afternoon. I would just like to start with say thank you to Thai for this kind invitation on behalf of Travelport, to whom I work for, and also our long-term partner in India, Interglobe, to whom we have here in the audience. I'd just like to thank that very much. And the warm welcome that you've given me over the last few days. I've learned a lot about India, that's for sure. So thank you very much for that. I've been fortunate enough, as you can tell, I'm from the UK, in England, but after I left England, I also lived in Japan for 5 years, so we could share some stories on Japan, which is an interesting cultural experience, which is a lot of fun. And now I'm living in Singapore, so welcome to you all from my residency, which I can call Singapore. And now, of course, I'm very excited. Just over a year or so working with Interglobe in India, and working with all of you, and just like to hopefully explore some great ideas and some great thoughts with you today, and appreciate if you can take some sound bites away. I'm sure you'll find it very interesting, so thank you.
Thank you. As you noticed, we have an absolutely elite panel, and our objective over the next 40 minutes or so, or even earlier, would be to help you navigate and understand technology, which will help you guide your own business model. So, but how do we see technology? Is it the front end? Is it the back end? Is it the middleware? Is it customer-facing technology? Is it B2B technology? Is it B2C technology? I'm sure some of us, if not all of us, or many of us, will be grappling with the concepts of technology, or have you missed the bus already? So let's start with understanding the role of technology and how it's evolving. And Rakesh, would you just guide us through where are we today in terms of a travel agency, in terms of technology, and how does it relate to you or customer as it's evolving?
Thanks, Ashish. Thanks. Technology is really at the forefront of what's happening in the travel industry. In terms of driving, in terms of facilitating, in terms of enabling. Jyoti mentioned yesterday about the theme of the conference about cruising, collaborating, and then influencing minds and illuminating minds. And we take it further today to the evolved traveler. And in terms of how this evolution is happening, who our evolved traveler is, what his expectations are, how technology is really driving this evolution, is enabling, and facilitating this evolution. Travel is, at the heart of what we do at Amadeus. there have been significant changes in the travel marketplace over the last 2 years. One may think of a slowdown, but in truth, these 2 years really have been groundbreaking and have seen unprecedented technological innovations. In terms of evolution of the traveler, who this evolved traveler is definitely very well connected. He could be a wanderer. He could be a mind-floor explorer. He could belong to this new category of business and leisure. COVID has all taught us to work from home, to work from anywhere. He could be combining his business and leisure trips. And as you say in India, he's just a must traveler. He just wants to travel, forget about, maximize, his time. And more, COVID is teaching us, to maximize joy and happiness, to enjoy. And there's this whole cultural thing which is coming on. You no longer save for your generation. You're saying, okay, let me enjoy, let me maximize what you can do here. The whole Euro concept of you only live twice, you only live once, and whatever you need to do, you need to manage that. And then these expectations, who is expected to meet these expectations? Amadeus has coined this new term about, P2T, which is ecosystem to the traveler. And what does this ecosystem, who all belong to this ecosystem? I think each and all of us. Everybody who is associated for one or more components of the whole travel journey. You, the travel agencies, the airlines, airports, visa authorities, immigration authorities, hotels, ground transportation, cruises, each and every component is part of this ecosystem, and they all need to collaborate together to be able to make this whole journey end-to-end, more smoother, faster, and better. Now, coming back to Ashish, he said about what role technology is playing. I'll go probably a little more deeper into technology, what is doing, and give some pointers. One of the very interesting ones is, really the metaverse. Think of Xbox. Think of virtual reality. A few years ago, it was difficult to imagine how virtual reality could redefine the travel experience. But virtual reality is here now. It's one of the most interesting things. The options which it offers to a traveler, you can really experience a destination, you can explore dining experiences, spaces, even before you decide to click on book now. Actually, a traveler, even before he arrives at a destination, he could explore, he could experience the travel, and then choose what are the options really available to him before he travels. Digitization, another big thing of which technology has enabled, and we all have talked about digitization. It's not something new. But what COVID did was really enable digitization for the masses. Look at the internet penetration. Penetration in tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 cities in India. Look at the percentage what it was before COVID, less than 50%, and it's close to 80% now. Look at what 4G has done. Enabled high-speed internet to the masses, to the rurals, to the smaller towns and cities, where people have started now experiencing travel. Videos of places, virtual tours of Eiffel Tower are so common now. People can really experience and they want to travel, and it's inspiring them to travel. Technology companies have launched rich immersive content with virtual tours. People can look at it, experience them, and then really decide and go to their partners to ask for specific components. Amadeus does have a product in the scenario called a revolving eye, where it offers a facility to tour operators, for example. They can design their own customized tours, and a person at the other end of the spectrum, just with a PC and a headphone, can really experience these virtual tours. And technology is aiding all of this. And if you extend the digitalization concept a little further, it leads us to the NDC concept, which is being used very, very widely. And we are seeing a very high adoption now. Airlines, providers are able to offer differentiated offers to the customers. Just look at a simple example from your booking screen. You can, when you're looking for fares, you can input a frequent flyer number, and there you go. The providers are already ready, and they are able to offer you a differentiated fare, which is personalized to you, which is digitized, which can help you more smoother and faster travel processing. And then we extend the concept further if you look at it. Digital IDs, digital passports, digital visas, paperless immigration. So we all saw, most of us had to fill up the form. There's hardly any paper up now. And if you can do that pre-plan, the whole process becomes so much faster and so much easier. If you keep extending this concept further, you can look at how the various components, which are related and which you can really take that forward. Amadeus conducted a survey, and I'll give you some figures, in terms of actual statistics. Amadeus conducted and commissioned a survey where more than 9,000 people participated across 9 countries. And some of the main findings of the survey were, travelers said that technology can increase their confidence to travel in the next 12 months. 44% of the travelers said that they want the mobile applications that provide on-trip notifications and alerts, so that they could manage their plan, they could manage the disruptions, so they could get real-time information. 41% of the respondents said that self-service check-in, and 41% said that the ability to make payments online from their mobiles is one of the most important things which they want to experience and look forward to. And last but not the least, if you look at the large companies in terms of their investments going into metaverse and the new technologies, we have seen a huge number of startups and investments going into the cloud startup area, especially to make use of best of these technologies. We can go on and on, but this is just a few pointers.
It's exciting, if not threatening. And I'm using the word intimidating. As a small and medium-sized travel agent, so 0.1% of the trends that Rakesh mentioned, if you're not aware of it already, of what your traveler or prospective traveler was pre-COVID and what he is or she is today, is vastly different. And if you are not at the forefront of where your customer is, your traveler is, then be sure that you are losing your traveler very soon, your customer very soon. So it's time to check into these technologies and such technologies to find out and ensure that the traveler is not ahead of you, but you are ahead of the traveler. There was a very important, and I want to close this part, and we are sharing yesterday. I was reading Booking.com and Trip.com, TripAdvisor. Booking.com says we specialize in catering to the connected traveler. TripAdvisor says we want our traveler to have a considered trip. That's it. 119 each. Marriott, as we discussed yesterday, says we are in the business of providing not hotels, but a global travel experience. This is where the traveler is evolving, and which is why this is where the global vendors, your global partners, your global competitors are evolving as well. So the question you need to start thinking is, are we evolving as fast, if not faster than them? Let's come back to the next point, and we discussed that yesterday about, and Ratna said a very important point. I don't want to be trapped. And it's scary, to say the least. And today you go to a booking site of an airline, and you probably have visited them a year before. They say, welcome back. Do you still want to search for Delhi, New York, Delhi? And you're like, oh, I deleted your cookies, but still the site is tracking me. The whole era of personalization of a traveler is as good and as bad as it gets. And we discussed the merits and demerits very briefly yesterday. Is it good? Maybe good for the travel company, but how much privacy or how much customization is good? Till what extent of privacy? And I'm sure there's a huge landmine to it. They make us sign those disclaimers. Accept, and you sign all of them and realize you've given away a lot of information probably. What is this whole landmine about customization? And we will request you to answer that for us and help us solve that part of the equation, because it's very important to traveler. Customize for me, but don't invade my privacy. So where is that? Where are we on that?
Thank you. That's a great question. Interestingly, though, when I was just listening to the change that we're all going through, the waves of change, I was just thinking to myself just then, who would have thought 15 years ago we'd be on a cruise ship, going on dodging cars, with drones flying around the theatre, and 5,000 guests travelling around and having an experience which most have never had in their life. If you would have asked me 50, I would have thought you were completely crazy. Right? I mean, who came up with that idea? And now look, it's become the fastest growing industry probably that we have, and leisure, everybody is opening up a new market. This market wasn't there 15, 20 years ago. Let's be honest, there were a few ships that were going around, probably with more, could I say, elderly passengers, if that's not too controversial. But now you've got families, it's a whole new industry that's grown out of 15 or 20 years. And I think this is how we have to think of change. I mean, the people who decided to fly drones around this theatre when we arrived, I mean, that was just, who had that idea over a cup of tea one afternoon? It's incredible. So where will cruising be in the next 10 years? These are the questions that Royal Caribbean is certainly asking. How do they stay ahead of the game? And everybody's pushing harder for more innovation, more customer experience. And I think I wanted to use this example because we can all relate to it. And my colleague, Samir, he's never been on a cruise before. He'll be back with his family for sure. So they've already gained 4 more guests just by having him on here today. So to come back to your question, if I may. So to me, it's a tough question, right? Personalisation, it means many things to many people. And I've asked quite a few people, and they all gave me a slightly different answer how they see personalisation. So to me, it's kind of a bit like different layers. It's like a puzzle, and it's not just one single thing. And I'll give you some examples how you could look at personalisation and how we're seeing not just the travel industry, but other industries and how they relate to personalisation. So, for example, yes, we have, and I think that where you sit is in a very, very, very good position, because what you can able to do is you are able to act as a trusted advisor to your customer. And I think the word trusted, you mentioned TripAdvisor, people are a little sceptical about TripAdvisor, right? You know, my friend's been on it 6 times, so it must be good, right? So, but you are respected and trusted advisors to your customer, and I think that's what brings them back to you. And I think that will always be there. And I think you need to extend that approach and try to use it to say, how do I then, they've travelled with me before, how was that experience in the past? And what can we do in the future to make it better or enhance it? And I think where you sit, you're in an ideal situation to do that. And then, of course, when they come back, you can start being more relevant to what their needs are from the previous trip. And I think technology tries to do that. And we all know, we mentioned cookies, but we all know we go back to Google or Amazon or these guys, they kind of say, well, you got this last time, would you like to do this time? And they're very good at that. And I think when we look at personalization, we need to become more like travel retailers. That's the way the world is moving, because for sure, retailers are trying to become travel agents, right? We can see, you know, Airbnb experiences, and we can see Uber for travel and all these guys. Now, we have to be ready to actually go the other way. So why don't we start becoming retailers beyond travel, which is an interesting new way of thinking, I think. And the other thing I would add is data. And now data, everyone will probably start to close their eyes and go, oh, you know, data, right? But data actually from both Amadeus and Travel, I'll be honest, we have a lot of data. And we use data not just to look at trends in the market, but we can widen your audience so you can actually ask us, what is happening in the world of travel? What is happening in India? What is happening in the UK? We're able to share who's flying from where to where, not by name, but by numbers of requests or numbers of bookings or numbers of searches. And if you started to look at that data, then you could start to tailor your relevant content or your relevant services or your relevant commercial arrangements that you have with your customers. And we look at it every day. I'm sure we look at it every day. You know, who's flying from Delhi to X? And you know, we can see already the VietJets of this world, the Vietnam Airways of this world throwing aircraft, as many as they can, into India, because that's the market. They want to capture that market. Now we know, because we can see who's trying to request and book and serve those flights any minute of any day. So if you would have asked Travelport into Globe and say, hey, what's going on in the for sure we'd be able to say, here are the top 10 destinations, and by the way, here are the top 10 airlines, and by the way, this is the amount of people who were looking but didn't book. Now, we have that data, and I think that's something you should absolutely ask us to have to help you in your making your decisions where you are, because there might be places that haven't really occurred to you or ways of looking at it. So I would definitely put that out there.
That's a very interesting point, and I take out the sum up when you go ahead again. But there are two very important points, and one was the offering that you mentioned about. And I was in fact, as I was scanning, mentioning in the morning, that 80% of the current traveler, the evolved traveler, is picking and deciding on the spot if the advertising is related to the offering that you use. Imagine 80% of your traveler, your customer, is taking a decision on the spot. And that's connected to what we discussed yesterday. There's almost $2 trillion of surplus wealth available. All of it to be available to spend. And people are not afraid to spend today. They're in fact spending 25% more than what they would spend earlier. 80% of them are spending on taking a decision on the spot. And I saw that out of Gen Z is 76%, millennials are 84%, Gen X is 80%, and baby boomers are 71% taking decisions on the spot. Now, if you are not familiar with this segmentation, and as we discussed yesterday, that we need to segment, then it's even more critical when you reach out for data and find out where does my customer land.
You are watching Travel World Online.